Niacin might not headline nutritional news the way vitamin D or omega-3s do, but it deserves a round of applause for one of the quietest public health success stories of the 20th century. Tucked discreetly into bags of flour and boxes of cereal, this B vitamin has played a starring role in the global effort to wipe out pellagra, a once devastating disease caused by niacin deficiency. Thanks to fortification policies implemented in many countries, particularly during and after the 1940s, niacin's silent presence in the modern food supply has saved millions of lives, especially in vulnerable and low-income populations. To understand the scale of the achievement, it helps to revisit just how grim the pellagra epidemic once was. In the early 1900s, the American South was plagued by widespread niacin deficiency, with entire communities suffering from the 3Ds of pellagra: dermatitis, diarrhea, and dementia. In its advanced stages, pellagra often led to death. The root cause wasn't contagious disease or poor sanitation. It was an over-reliance on diets based heavily on corn that hadn't been nixtamalized, a traditional treatment that frees up niacin, combined with widespread poverty and lack of dietary diversity. It was a nutritional tragedy playing out on a massive scale, especially in institutional settings like prisons, orphanages, and mental hospitals where monotonous, nutrient-poor diets were the norm. Enter niacin fortification. Once scientists, including Joseph Goldberger, cracked the mystery that pellagra was a deficiency disease rather than an infectious one, governments had the tools to take action. Beginning in the 1940s, the United States and several other countries began requiring niacin, often as niacinamide, to be added to refined wheat flour, cornmeal, and rice. Almost overnight, the incidence of pellagra plummeted. What had been an entrenched public health crisis transformed into a historical footnote, without mass vaccination campaigns or costly interventions, just the simple act of giving flour a vitamin boost. The ripple effect of niacin fortification went beyond just eliminating pellagra. It lifted a foundational burden of malnutrition in low-income and rural communities, particularly among populations who couldn't afford meat, eggs, or fresh produce, the richest natural sources of niacin. It also offered a safety net for those with increased metabolic demands, such as children, pregnant women, and the elderly. Fortified foods helped ensure that even people with limited access to fresh or varied diets still received enough niacin to support brain function, skin health, energy metabolism, and stress resilience. Globally, niacin fortification has been adopted in many countries, often alongside other B vitamins like folate, thiamine, and riboflavin. While the exact strategies vary, some nations fortify wheat flour, others rice or cornmeal. The results have been remarkably consistent: lower rates of clinical deficiency diseases and improved baseline nutritional status in the general population. For example, in parts of Africa and Latin America, where maize is a staple and pellagra remained a threat well into the 20th century, the introduction of fortified cereals and flours helped turn the tide without needing to overhaul traditional food systems. Fortification isn't glamorous. It's invisible by design. But that's part of its brilliance. You don't have to remember to take a supplement or be nutrition savvy to benefit. You just eat toast or pancakes or rice, and your body quietly receives the micronutrients it needs. This approach not only helps prevent overt deficiency, but also cushions people during times of increased need or poor health when nutrient absorption or intake may be compromised. That said, while niacin fortification has largely succeeded in eradicating clinical pellagra in most developed nations, it doesn't mean the job is entirely done. Marginal deficiencies can still exist, especially among individuals with alcoholism, eating disorders, digestive diseases, or food insecurity. Fortification also doesn't guarantee the bioavailability of nutrients if the rest of the diet is severely lacking in protein or other cofactors that help B3 do its job. Still, it remains a foundational layer of protection, subtle, effective, and easy to take for granted until you imagine a world without it. In the end, niacin in fortified foods is a humble reminder of how small interventions can have massive public health outcomes. It's the nutritional equivalent of putting fluoride in water or iodine in salt: simple, low-cost, and transformative. So the next time you bite into a slice of sandwich bread or pour cereal into your bowl, remember, you're not just having breakfast. You're taking part in a global success story where science, policy, and flour came together to quietly change the course of human health.